Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. All right, so in this message, I am picking up on a very particular masculine. I'm getting a lot of information in this channel, and they're showing me connecting the dots. So I'm getting a lot of information about what was going on behind the scenes, why it was going on behind the scenes, and a particular patterning. It's very habitual of behavior that's cropped up in this masculine, but it's also a patterning of psychology, a way of seeing the world, a way of relating to his inner world. And so they're wanting to connect all of these things together to paint a more robust picture. Because for this group, I feel that catching on to what was going on in this situation, because there's more than one person involved here, has been a process of pulling back the layers of the onion kind of piece by piece. I think you've needed to do that in order to just connect the dots and put the puzzle pieces together. Also, this was what was best for you, psychologically speaking, is what I'm hearing from your guides. They didn't want to overwhelm you, so they would kind of reveal a little bit and then keep pulling back those layers of the onion. And they're connecting this to the stages between denial and anger, which I feel like has been very much highlighted in the readings recently, which is the first two stages of grief, even though the stages of grief don't necessarily go in order and you can jump all around. So I feel like there was quite a lot of denial energy in you, because I think you felt something strongly for this masculine, and I don't think you picked up on a nefarious vibe with him. I think you actually picked up on a very friendly vibe. And so to find out of his involvement, that's really what I think this centers around. To find out about his involvement in your betrayal, I think was quite a shock. I think that was where the denial was. I'm hearing like "e tu brute," or like, I think it really shattered your sense of safety in the world. It really made you look at things a lot differently, because there's betrayal energy that was going on behind the scenes. Unfortunately, this has been a pattern that I've been picking up on the channel recently. So let's talk about that. What was going on behind the scenes? I think you understood that there's betrayal energy. And actually, I kind of think that this masculine was at the center of it, to be honest. I think it was more than just his involvement, because what I'm getting for him, it's kind of coming through like Mars and Gemini in the 8th house. And that's astrology speak. That's just the way that the messages come through for me sometimes. So basically what I'm picking up on is that this man has a two-faced nature. He has two sides of himself. And I think this has to do with groups. So he has two different groups, friend groups that he will keep. And it could be that one is in the daylight and the other is a smaller group within that group that it's very schadenfreude, kind of behind the scenes. It could be that, but it could also be this group that he keeps hidden is scorpionic in some way, like it's secretive. It could also be schmegdual, but with the Gemini energy, I feel like it's friends. So this is definitely a guy, I feel like, who sleeps with his friends, and who possibly sleeps with your friends. And I feel like some of that could be going on. And the reason I feel like it's going on is for power play. There's that scorpionic energy there. But it's humiliation. And I just heard backfired. But yeah, I feel like this was to try and humiliate you behind the scenes, like rubbish your name. So there could have been a lot of gossip. And so he involves with people that are very competitive with you and with your energy. And I think this is something you're meant to see and you're meant to look at, because whoever I'm speaking to, I feel like you are a very dignified person. You're a very dignified energy. I feel like this is a really messed up way of you finding out about that, because this is actually mirroring that back to you. It's just kind of got the vibe of Scar and a pack of hyenas, meddling behind the scenes to try and overthrow you. But they're doing that because they see you as bright and powerful. And honestly, this does seem to me like the dance of Leo and Scorpio, because Leo is the king. Leo is bright and is that sun energy, and Scorpio is the betrayer, the Scar energy that wants power but doesn't want to go after it in the right ways, or doesn't want to go after it directly, wants to go after it through strategy, especially behind the scenes, and using other people. That's strongly the energy that I am picking up on in this guy. So he wants you to be humiliated because it makes him feel better about himself, and he's intimidated. Basically, he is intimidated by you, and I think he might want to overthrow you. This is very much a guy that likes to compete with women, actually, and I feel may target women. And this might be neither here nor there, because I don't know where you know this guy from, but I feel like in the workplace, he likes to target female bosses in order to try and like befriend them, but then overthrow them. I don't think he would dare do this to a male. I actually don't think he would. He likes to use women in that way in order to compete with other men to make it seem like he has done something, but really he's just been kind of low and underhand. That might just be a side message for somebody. So yeah, I feel like this man actually, he is a karmic to you that zeroes in on other karmics. So I think if there is a silver lining to this, it's that he exposes the other karmic energies that are around you that are actually very jealous. And I also think that this man has two sides of his nature. With that Mars and Gemini energy, this would have to do with the way he expresses Mars things, competition, aggression, schmegduality. So he's very split down the middle. And I feel like that very much ties in with the groups that he hangs out with. He hangs out with two very different kinds of people, or he could hang out with the same people that reflect back that nature. So one, they have a very clandestine existence together, but also like kind of out in the sun. So, but the people that would participate in that are very insecure, very deeply insecure. And going back to this Mars energy though, that's kind of split. I feel like there's an aggression that actually comes through with this man. And that's what I want to zero in on, because make no mistake about it, this is aggression that he is showing towards you. But he uses this air energy to display his aggression. That Mars and Gemini energy. I'm strongly getting like the Mars and Libra energies are favored to demonstrate his aggression, but it also could be Aquarius as well. So he can make some kind of comments about you online, or he could post pictures with, a certain person that he thinks would really get under your skin. And I'm getting that. This man targets people that he knows you don't like, or that don't like you, that would get under your skin, or that any reasonable person would say, why are you hanging out with that person? He does that very much on purpose. And it's to do the thing of like this once removed. It's aggression once removed. That's what this guy does, because he likes this plausible deniability. And I go back to that phase between denial and anger. He likes to keep you in a state of denial about who he really is and how aggressive he really is. This is his method, to be very clear, of beating you black and blue. Because this guy wants to make people hurt the same way he felt like he was hurt, but it's humiliated. That's what I feel. He felt shameful, or he felt humiliated in some way. And I do feel this is in his past. I think this goes back to like teenage years, but there's another very specific incident that's young adulthood that we'll talk about here as well. And it's specific kinds of people. And honestly, I feel like it's women. And I think that it's his friends, like his male friends. And I'm hearing the word competition because he could have had a situation, especially back in teenage years, where he had a friend, like, I don't know, maybe a little teenage relationship or something. And then he felt like his person was with somebody else behind his back, or he saw people doing that. And it just kind of became his biggest fear. So it's a preoccupation, and it is a trauma that I feel he actually tries to get out in front of. That's the way he thinks about it, by perpetrating this onto other people. But it's also an off-gassing for his own hurt and his own pain, rather than dealing with that directly or dealing with it appropriately. So he very much zeroes in on friends that he thinks will betray you. And when that's the case, I feel like that aggression comes out full force. Like when you're not around, they gossip about you, he's sleeping with them. And all of it is to humiliate your very dignified energy, because I think you have a very dignified energy, and I think that is a threat to him. And so he likes kind of knocking you behind the scenes. And I think I just heard mate value. So he's trying to take your own mate value down. And he likes for you he wants to be the rescuer, right? He wants you to think that people, and I feel like this was the layers of the onion that you had to peel back, because I think you knew that there were people talking about you, or you knew that there were people taking shots at you, and things like that. But he is the one that's riling them up, and it's through that Mars energy. So he could feign anger at you. He is actually aggressive, and he is actually angry at you, but he's the one that's perpetrating a lot of this behind the scenes nonsense. So he could do that, like, oh, I'm so angry at her, in order to get people talking about you, in order to get people gossiping about you. And I think it's shocking, because I think there's some level of where it's known that you're dating, or that there's interest between the two of you. So I think it shocks certain people, and it emboldens them. And so whatever mistreatment you've received in a group, I want you to know it comes from him. He has emboldened your enemies. He had stirred them up. If he had not involved himself, then none of that, whatever happened to you, none of it would have happened. So he's just creating a very contentious environment around you. And so that's one way that, and of course, then he's sleeping with people. And it's also a way that he can talk nonsense around other potential suitors in order to try and change the way that they view you so that he can kind of take them out of the running. And the other thing is, if he is around people that he knows are actually your friends, like somebody that might actually snitch on him, that's when I think you'll see aggression. I think that he will suddenly start acting strange, like not even necessarily towards your friend or something. It's just that's when it's like he's gonna throw a fit or something to create a spectacle, because he starts to kind of spiral out of control because he doesn't want to be discovered. So that's the two sides of his nature, and both are actually aggressive. I don't think you saw this man as aggressive. I think you saw him as a friend. But behind that, I just heard sinister smile. I think when you think back on this guy now, you see him as kind of sinister, and it's this very aggressive pattern that's been playing out. Now, let's talk about where that comes from a bit, because I'm getting a very specific scenario in my mind. It's so specific. So only take this if it resonates, or take whatever's helpful from this. But I'm getting around, I'm hearing 17 to 19 for some of you, but this also could have happened just like young adulthood, sometime around young adulthood, that hinge point. I think this man knew a couple, and I think he was friends with the man or the guy in the couple. But he knew this couple, and he thought that they were the perfect couple, and he thought that they were really cute together. And it was something that he immediately recognized that he wanted for himself. And he had a lot of respect for the man in the couple. And I actually think your energy reminds him of the man. He doesn't know that. He thinks because he's the man and the other guy's the man that they play the masculine role. It's going to be the shock of this man's life when he realizes that he's more like her in the relationship. Okay. And let's talk about her. So this man in the couple was very dignified, and he looked up to him quite a bit. And either he had a good career, or he was very kind to people, or he was headed towards the direction of success. And he had this girlfriend, and she was very sweet and loving and very kind, so he thought. Because then she started hitting on him. She started making passes towards him. For some, I think that this man, he could have even been living with them. Like his friend could have really helped him out and, let them stay together. But even as I'm saying this, I want to cry. There's a lot of shame that this masculine, he's very tense and very nervous. He doesn't want to admit this. He doesn't want to own up to this. I think he's very shameful, but he doesn't like to look at this directly. So she started hitting on him, and I think they started sleeping together. And he couldn't admit that there was something wrong with her, because he should have known that there was something wrong with her the moment that she started betraying his friend. And he knows that he respects this guy a lot, and that he should have been a friend, and he should have been the one to blow the lid on it and to say, look, your girl is making passes at me. Maybe he thought his friend wouldn't believe him. I don't know. But he started sleeping with her, and he was basically a useful idiot in that scenario because she was intimidated by her partner. And so this little dance, he kind of learned from her. She traumatized him in some way, and maybe somebody traumatized her in the same way. I don't know. I am hearing cluster B, and obviously I'm not diagnosing anybody, but somebody here could be cluster B, like very up and down in their emotions, very dramatic, erratic. And it's a trigger for people when somebody is successful or when someone's doing well for themselves, because they feel like they're going to leave them, or they can't handle when someone is doing well. Because of that. So I feel like that's why she made a pass at him, but he had to lie to himself in his own brain. And I think he flattered himself a lot. And this is flashing me back to, I know I've said this so many times in the readings, learn the difference between flattery and genuine praise. She was buttering him up in some way because she wanted to sleep with him. And I feel like that she could have been in some lustful energy towards him, but I really think it was because she felt, threatened by her partner, and she wanted to hurt her partner. Maybe she wanted to humiliate him behind the scenes. So this is where he learned it. And so instead of just saying like, no, she clearly loves her partner and she's using him and she's off-gassing her emotions and there's something wrong here. It's not a flattering thing for her to be targeting you like this. Instead, I think he had to lie to himself about it. And so this is some kind of deep shame. And I think it either compounded on something that happened in teenage years where he saw people, I don't know, ask somebody out and then run away and snicker or like something, it could have built upon that, or this is where this wound kind of originates because he really didn't want to be his friend. He thought his friend was a sucker. He knew his friend was being humiliated behind the scenes, and he could have stopped it. He could have stopped it day one, and told his friend about it, but instead he was selfish and lying to himself about what was going on with her, because there's a lot going on with her. And I think she probably needs some kind of mental health assistance as well. But she wasn't who he thought she was. And it damaged him because it made him scared of women. So he met the one, and I'm literally hearing the one. He met the one he wanted. And I think that was you. And you have this beautiful sun energy about you that actually reminded him of his friend. So this is pulling the shame energy up to the surface. But because he doesn't want to look at it directly, he is comparing you to the woman in this scenario when he's the woman in this scenario. And he's going to realize that. And I feel like the day he realizes that is going to be a dangerous day, actually. I don't know. Like, he's really going to hate himself, I think. I don't know what's, he was scared that you were going to be like her and that you were going to do him dirty like she did his friend dirty. And that people were going to be laughing at him because maybe other people knew about this too, that these two were sleeping together or something. And he knew what he felt when she chose him. He felt like she chose him, but she didn't. She's incredibly selfish. She chose herself, first of all. Let's be very honest about that. But she likes the guy that she was with originally. She's in love with him. She just doesn't know how to love him. And so these two are very karmic towards each other. But so he was afraid that because of the way he felt about that couple, he thought that they were the perfect couple, and that's something that he wanted for himself. I think he actually saw having the real version of that relationship with this feminine that he met that was in this sun energy. Very positive, very jovial, very well-rounded, vital, very bright, very dignified. And he thought, oh, she's just a liar. So here he is exalting this karmic from his past, sleeping with her. There's nothing wrong with her, she's just perfect and she's choosing him and they're sleeping together, and all the while she's traumatizing him and they're forming this gross little trauma bond. And then he meets the real thing, and now he's taking all the things that he should be taking out on this karmic and he's projecting that out onto his actual soulmate. Oh, well, if I get with you and you're my girlfriend, because I think these two are sleeping together on the side. So he's scared of actually having a girlfriend that he loves and cares for, because he just thinks, they look really sweet. But then they cheat on you behind the scenes. And the behind the scenes is where the love actually is. And he can't, he's still lying to himself is what I'm getting. Oh, because behind the scenes, because she really wanted me and all that's just a show. She didn't really want him. She really wants her partner. But he can't admit that he is a useful idiot. There's so much shame that is wrapped up in this, because he wanted to compete, actually. I think he felt jealous of this masculine, and he thought, oh, in no world am I better than him, but here she is looking at me, and it made him feel good about himself. And so he allowed himself to be used in that way, and he should have blown the lid on her. And then it got to a point where he couldn't blow the lid on her without blowing the lid on himself, which still is the noble thing to do. I just heard at least before they get married or something, he needs to let his friend know what he's dealing with. Because there's nothing wrong with his friend, And so he was just scared of being humiliated that way. So he learned some things here as well. So instead, he tried to push that humiliation onto you in order to control you. He is playing out her patterning. He's playing out his own trauma in his mind. So he's trying to belittle you behind the scenes. And also with these friends that he's pulling in, he is hate effing them. He doesn't care about them. They're a useful idiot to him. And I feel like this is a way Spirit is trying to expose what was actually going on. He knows how he feels about these friends, that he's just using them in order to get to you and in order to try and control you, because all he really wants is you. He knows that. But I do think he's also got this other side to his nature that's I just heard down low. So it could be that he's down low for some of you. But I mean, this is just low energy. That's more what I meant originally. So take that however it resonates. But he's just scared. I'm really getting that he's scared. He felt so much for you, and he felt that you were the real thing, but she turned out not to be. And he didn't hold her accountable, and he didn't blow the lid on it. So that's how he thinks the scenario is going to play out between the two of you. And what's completely ironic is that you did nothing wrong. And I feel like this woman is a hidden enemy. This is hidden enemy energy for both of them. He is your hidden enemy, because he is stirring up a lot of negative attention around you. And he's making people take passes at you and swipes at you. And this includes the men, because of the way he's speaking about you, or because he's showing this like fake interest in other people that he's sleeping with, which is agitating the men because they either know that the two of you are dating or sleeping together, or that there is that kind of magnetic interest between the two of you, and they know how he's behaving behind the scenes. So it's riling them up of, I'm going to go take my pass, and maybe not even in the most respectable manner. They would have, because your energy is dignified. So they would have been very respectful around you, but this man has lowered the bar. See what I'm saying? This is a hidden enemy. You didn't lower the bar. He's trying to. So it puts you in danger. You are in danger around this guy. And he's trying to use, so again, like the Gemini energy, he's trying to flip your friends, because some of your friends he knows wants to sleep with him or are jealous of you, or maybe they feel insecure socially and he's cool. And so if he makes some kind of comment about you, they're going to laugh and snicker. He's able to pick up on who is who in this friend group, but also Libra energy. So if you break up with him or something, he's going to try and get with somebody that he knows is going to piss you off. I just heard a sibling for some of you. Good Lord. Or a friend, somebody that's in your inner circle, somebody that he knows you don't like and that they don't like you, a kind of person he knows that you don't get along with. He's going to try to annoy you. And then with the Aquarius energy, he's going to post pictures of them doing things or whatever, and he's going to act like, what? Like there's always this once removed aggression with this guy, but it is deep aggression is what it is. And I actually think that's part of the karmas that are coming through, because he is going to get what's coming to him is what I'm hearing, because he's not looking at what he's doing. He's not looking at it directly. He's really focused on you, I think. And he's focused on outrunning the shame. So he's not watching what he's doing. He's using people like pawns, these Gemini energy and the people he's getting into relationships with. And I think the feminine, he is a hidden enemy to feminine energy. And I kind of feel like feminine energy is what's fighting back, but it feels like if you congealed all the feminine energy, into like it's one organism, it's almost like that is producing antibodies to like push towards this masculine. So I think he's going to end himself up in a relationship with somebody where this stuff doesn't work. And I go back to, I don't know why I've been getting this message. I feel like for a lot of these women, it's like they like women. His tricks don't work on them because they aren't interested. But for some reason, they're putting up this kind of like front, and they might have a lot of aggression about having to do that. It feels very mirrored in that way. That's just for some of you. Only take that if it resonates. But I do feel that femininity itself is fighting back. I also am being told that this is what like tarot is doing right now. And like all of us tapping into our intuition, we're all walking each other home. It's like we're all kind of warding each other off, these people that are really kind of messed up behind the scenes and trying to cause harm behind the scenes. It's this producing of the antibodies, and there's quite a bit of masculine protection actually that's coming in as well, because I just heard it's not just that, it's coming in on the masculine side of things where they are, at least the spirit guides that are in the other realm, they are trying to reel in their own as well. There's a coordinated effort. I just heard it's very cooperative. It's a coordinated effort here. They're really not appreciative of how this guy treats people, and they can see the trauma, and I think the way that I just described this, it's like, he was genuinely victimized at a certain point. He could have been younger than these two. He could have been down and out on his luck, because for some, I think that his friend had offered him a place to live or something, and that's how he knew this karmic, or, but yeah, it was something here where I think he legitimately was, there was a lot of magnetism thrown at him, and he didn't really understand that he was a pawn in somebody's game. He thought she really liked him, and, she really likes herself, and she really likes this guy that she's with, and she was just trying to control the situation by humiliating him behind the scenes. And I don't know why she seems to have a fixation around humiliate. Maybe, I think it's different I'm not really tapping into her energy in this reading, but I think seems to have a fixation with humiliating the masculine energy for some reason. And, she's got her own journey to go on here as well, but, again, I'm not tapping into her energy in this reading, because I'm tempted to kind of look over there, but yeah. So you were treated very badly in this. He is a hidden enemy to you. He is a karmic. You are not safe around him. He gave you the impression that he was your friend. He didn't want you to know that he was involved. he was involved. He was saying a bunch of nonsense behind the scenes. It was riling a bunch of people up, and everybody is responsible for themselves because you have some two-faced friends around you. So I would take what little win you can take here, which is just knowing that there's a lot of people who are apparently not well socialized, I just heard, and they're insecure and they're very susceptible to just flipping on people. If you weren't told about this guy, if me telling you this is the first you're hearing of it and like you having to peel back the layers of the onions, I'm telling you, you got some fake friends. You have some fake friends because there are people that know about this and they could have told you and they could have warned you that this was going on, including him. That's how you know he was involved, because he knew that you were in some kind of danger. He wanted something to happen to you that was humiliating, I think, so that you would settle for him, or like, yeah, I think he really just, I think that he wanted you, he thought you were out of his league. And there's other people in this friend group too that are just miserable, and you have this bright sun energy, and so it just rubs them the wrong way that you're happy, honestly. So maybe some of these people are not your friends, but they're friends of your friends or something, and they're just miserable people. And so he is capitalizing on that as well. They know that you just smiling or being happy or being kind is triggering to them. There's people involved in this that just hate you because you're happy, or you try to bring a sense of positivity. And you might have just wondered what was wrong with that, And I think they're equating that to you being shallow or superficial. But I think a lot of these people are just acquaintances. And I think you're intentionally keeping it in the shallow end with these people. And you should continue to do that, because I wouldn't want any of these people, you don't want them any closer to you than they have to be, because they're betrayers and they want to flip. And any suggestion to the contrary is these people trying to weasel their way into your inner circle in order to destroy you. There's a fascination with that, with some of these people, to destroy something bright, beautiful, and innocent. And he is just letting them do it. He's riling it up. So, yeah, that's what I have for you. This was a big one. This was a hefty message. Make sure you're taking care of yourself after this. I think some of you have started to realize this more and more, but there does seem to be a connection to somebody here in his past. For some, they're going to let these two have each other. Like she's going to end up destroying her relationship. Like, especially because I think this played out differently for each of these masculines in this like affair situation that they were in. Because for some, I think it was just like a one-time thing, or it was just like a mistake, like a stint. And because when she ran back to this other guy, I think he kind of knew. But I think for others, this is something that went on, I just heard, into perpetuity. Like it just kind of, whenever they would have a fight or something, or yeah, I think he tried to maybe move away from the situation, but then these two would still kind of hook up, and it's because he's trying to distance himself. Oh, okay. So the last thing they're saying is like, he's just like her. Like he became just like her, but that was a pivotal moment for him where he was going to align himself with this masculine energy. And I feel like this masculine energy was meant to kind of tutor him in some way, take him under his wing, protect him, guide him. So then his identity, this was like some kind of tender point in his identity formation, because his, identity would be more in alignment with this other masculine energy. I think there's real opportunities here, like into the future, an opportunity to see himself in a new light, or he was going to align himself with this karmic energy. And I think he actually had a karmic contract to expose her to him in some way. And so that his friend, that was his, the friend I'm getting was going to help him step up into his own sun energy, his own career, his own dignity, his own personal philosophy, his own independence. And this guy was going to help expose this karmic energy to help for who she really was, because she's very convincing. And so that way this masculine could get away from her and see her true colors before they had kids together or got married together or something like that. And I think that he may have done that even if he wasn't participating, because they could have got caught together, these two. But he just, if he's getting caught with her, then he doesn't get his benefit from this, side of the bargain. And then he's going to go basically ruin his life because he's going to disrespect the one that he's supposed to be with. And then I feel like his life just kind of train wrecks out of control from there. It's like a downward spiral kind of that's set in motion. Not that he can't change it. It's just that he doesn't have the advocacy that he set out to have in this life, because he's just kind of destroyed it by involving with her. This is a major karmic enemy that he's got in her. And she's a karmic enemy to women, just in general. I feel like because this man's going to go on to hurt a lot of women in the way that he is behaving. So they both are. This is hidden enemy territory. So that's what I have for you. If that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.